How's it going, everyone? Andy here from 4K Downtime, right back at you with another 4K news update. Got a lot to discuss today, so let's just jump right into it. The first news is some Switch news, actually, talking about the console becoming the best-selling console in US history for its first 12 months. Now, I just want to twist that a little bit, because apparently it's not the fastest selling console, it's the fastest selling home console, because as far as the US goes, the one that still holds the most consoles sold in its first year is the Game Boy Advance. So we're just talking about home consoles, not the not the fastest selling console ever. So apparently, according to VG charts, of course they're never really the right source to go for, especially when you want to talk about sales, because they're usually under track by quite a few, sometimes even go into millions sometimes, when it's just simply, like, not correct most of the time. Like 9 out of 10 times they're usually under track. But on their website, according to them at the moment, it's supposed to have sold over 15 million units. So the Switch basically roughly have sold around 15 million units in its first 12 months, and that's a really impressive feat considering Nintendo had a really bad console period with the Wii U. It's kind of glad to see that they bounced back so strongly. They went from one of their worst selling consoles of all times to literally one of their best. Being the best home console in the US is a very big thing, because it means that it outsold the Wii, it outsold the PS4, Xbox One, etc. So congratulations, Nintendo. Keep doing what you guys do best. So just keep bringing out those really good exclusives. So moving on to the next news we want to talk about is Travis Strikes Again. So Travis Strikes Again recently was shown at GDC. Before that, we had the Nintendo Direct, where they just showed roughly about 1 minute of footage. I've posted that video up on my channel as well, so if you want, you can go check that out. And if you've watched the video of where I talked about my my thoughts on the game, like what I did it on my Nintendo Direct thoughts video. So I've clearly stated that I was not on board with this new iteration of No More Heroes, because I love the first two games, like the first one and Desperate Struggles. I think they're fantastic games. It was literally one of those third-party games that made people felt, oh, okay, you know what, like the Wii wasn't just Nintendo IPs. Like No More Heroes really stood out, during that time when it was first announced, and I really enjoyed it. But unfortunately, what I'm seeing here is how should I put it? It felt like if they made a spin-off game out of No More Heroes, and I guess that's maybe the best way to look at it, is that it's not a proper sequel, because technically it's not really called No More Heroes 3, it's called Travis Strikes Again. So I guess, yeah, it could be looked at as a spin-off game. But the GDC footage that I've seen, and you'll be able to find that online as well, there's a lot of places that have shown some of the footage of people playing it. But in my eyes, it seems to be just a collectathon of mini games. Like, none of them, it doesn't play remotely close to the old games, and from what I could see of it, it seems to be like, it almost felt like kind of like a No More Heroes party game, that kind of stuff. They look like a bunch of mini games that were strung together, like, at least from what I've seen from the trailer and what I've seen from the GDC footage. They all look like just really basic kind of games. Like, they don't look like they require that much thought process. Like, the one that you see in GDC is literally him and Badman, which is Bad Girl's father, duking it out kind of in, like, I'm not sure, are they competing, or is it kind of like a two-player co-op game where you just go around slashing people from an isometrical view. So yeah, so right now I'm still not really on board with it. Maybe if they showed us more of the other worlds that he gets to travel in, maybe some of those other worlds will play more like a No More Heroes game. But from this one that I've seen at GDC, I was not really impressed by it. So hopefully they can change my mind, because I do really want to support Suda 51, because I really enjoy Suda 51's games, like in games like Shadow of the Damned. I know not a lot of people like it, but I did. Lollipop Chainsaw I thought was great, and what was the other latest one he did? Yeah, Killer is Dead. That had the best combat in my opinion that they've ever done. So in general, I do like Suda51's game, but with this one, I'm just really not too sure. And I was really excited because I've always wanted, like, you know, a third game in the series, and like to hear it come in, but this isn't quite the third game I wanted. But who knows? Maybe I'll change my mind. Like, you know, maybe the next couple of words that they show will totally blow my mind. So, moving on, we've got Ark Survival being officially confirmed that it's coming onto the Switch. So thanks to the good folks at Nintendo Everything, they posted up a video, and I'm not going to post it here. What I'll do is I'll put a link in the description so you guys could go check it out. It's literally just a 1 minute of footage showing them that there's an off-screen gameplay clip of Ark Survival running on the Switch. Now, from what I could see of it, it looks to be very it's definitely not a steady 30 frames. Like, they kind of said that they were going to be targeting it, but from what I could see of it, it seems to be kind of like 20, it's like running anywhere between 20 to 30 frames, like and you can clearly see it stutters when he's moving around. In terms of graphical fidelity, it looks pretty much almost exactly the same as the PS4 and Xbox One version. And I do want to put out this note here right now, is that the PS4 version and the Xbox One version didn't run that great either. So from what I could see of the Switch version, it looks like basically it's the same as the PS4 and Xbox One version. It doesn't run that great, it could be a bit choppy, and graphic wise it looks almost the same as well. Now granted, this build, I'm not sure how far back was it, maybe it's better now, and I'm not too sure who's also porting it. Is it Ark Survival's own development team porting it, or are they outsourcing the code to somebody else? But from what I've seen of it, it looks interesting. Ark Survival is one of those games that has always piqued my interest, but I've never had the time to actually try it out. So if it comes on the Switch, maybe now it's the time for me to get in and see what all the hubbub is about. But other than that, yeah, it looks okay to me right now. I don't really have much to complain about. Because it literally just looks pretty much the same as the PS4 and Xbox One version, and that's not really a compliment, just purely because those versions wasn't that great either. So hopefully they got better at optimizing the game, and hopefully the full game is at least in a somewhat stable 30 frames, so making it a bit more enjoyable. But other than that, that's all I have really to say for it, because I've never really played it, so I can't really give much judgment on what the gameplay's like and everything. But I have seen a lot of mods for it. I've seen that Charizard mod, which I thought was pretty cool. And then finally down to our last bit of news, and this is probably you're going to hear me go on a little bit of a rant, maybe, is regarding Capcom and the Street Fighter 30th anniversary collection. Now, we've all seen Nintendo recently have just posted a trailer for the Switch version, that the Switch version is going to get an exclusive tournament mode where you can hook up to 4 Switches and play like a tournament mode, which is very similar to the older tournament modes, how they usually do in the arcades, where they have 8 machines all linked up together. So when you either get beaten or, like, you know, you won, when you move up to the next like, you know, to the next opponent, it will actually tell you which arcade cabinet to go to, and then you continue, like, you know, continue on fighting. And I've always thought that was pretty unique back then. And of course the Switch, yeah, because of its portability, it was able to replicate the same effect. So Capcom made that as an exclusive for the Nintendo Switch. Now at first you're probably thinking, well, that's a cool little bonus, right? But here's the catch, and in my eyes, I don't understand why Capcom did this. And again, I just can't felt like it's just Capcom being Capcom, like weird, sometimes making really weird, like, you know, decisions. So here's the thing: if you pre-order Street Fighter the Anniversary Collection on PS4, PC, and Xbox One, you will get a free digital download code for Ultra Street Fighter 4. Now, first of all, I would like to point out that it is a very old game at this point, and, like, you know, it's a game that probably tons of people have already played it already. But the fact that you're still willing to give away that free code for download, which is good, I guess you could say, like, you know, it's just a bit more bang for your buck, right? But in the same time, yeah, then why is the Switch version omitted of that? And I don't buy if you were to tell me that, oh, we couldn't port it over to the Switch whatsoever because you were able to get it to run on the 3DS, you were able to get Ultimate NPC as well as Street Fighter Cross Tekken to run on the Vita. So if you can get those games to run on those consoles, and they run relatively good by the way, then Ultra Street Fighter 2 should be no problem for you to port over to the Switch. And of course the reasoning behind this could potentially be that they just didn't have the time, like, you know, and it's much easier to put it on the said platforms because because it is already on there, so technically all you have to do is just slap the code on there. But with the Switch version we'll probably have to actually do a porting job, so that could be the reason. But still, by doing that, you kind of like, it almost felt like, okay, so if I was, let's say if I was just trying to get into Street Fighter, and I look at this as, oh, this is such a brilliant package, oh, and I get, like, you know, Ultra Street Fighter 4 as well for pre-order, oh, PS4 version then. Because the Switch version, while it has that exclusive tournament mode, yeah, if you're buying it to play by yourself, yeah, which I'm sure at least a good 80% of the audience is probably just going to do that, and the tournament mode probably wouldn't mean much for them unless they've got other friends who also has it and would just love to do something like a tournament mode. I can't see that many people actually wanting that, despite it being pretty cool in my opinion. But still, in my eyes, I just kind of felt like Capcom could have at the very least put that there as well. Put, like, you know, find a way to port Ultra Street Fighter 2 there. I mean Ultra Street Fighter 4, and like give that as an added bonus as well. I just felt like by having the Switch version completely omitted that, like, you know, little bonus, it could potentially take somebody off from pre-ordering the Switch version. So maybe it probably wouldn't do anything. Like I said, it is a very old game, so at this point maybe nobody cares anyway. I personally am going to get this Switch version just because the ability to say that I'm playing like out for free and first strike on the go, that's just so appealing to me. So I'm definitely going to be picking up that version. But I am a bit miffed that Capcom didn't give us like at least that teeny little bit of bonus. But anyway, enough about what I think. As always guys, I want to hear what you think, so feel free to comment below, and we can have a discussion about this and everything like that, everything we've talked about today. And as always, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing and giving it a like. If not, you can hit a dislike. And I would like to thank everybody who comes to watch our videos and just to hear what we sometimes have to report on and have to say on certain matters. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much, and you guys have a great day. Take it